Throughout football history, some coaches changed the game through their tactics rather than their trophies. This analysis explores the most influential managers and the tactical legacies they left behind. Rinus Michels, the father of total football. Rinus Michels is widely regarded as the main architect of total football, a revolutionary style based on versatility and constant pressing. He took over Ajax in 1965 when the club was fighting relegation, and, with firm authority, earning the nickname The General, implemented a radical change in how football was played. His 4-3-3 system required players capable of constantly switching positions and occupying free spaces, supported by intense physical preparation and a relentless competitive mindset. Michels trained his teams to press immediately after losing possession, forcing opponent mistakes and recovering the ball as quickly as possible, defending by attacking, as he famously described it. Under his leadership, Ajax and later the Dutch national team played fluid, collective football, where everyone attacked and everyone defended. High pressing and systematic offside traps were applied like never before. The impact was enormous. The Dutch Clockwork Orange of the 1974 World Cup amazed the world and permanently changed how football could be played. Modern football cannot be understood without Michels. His philosophy directly influenced disciples such as Johan Cruyff and laid the foundations for positional play, high pressing, and tactical versatility, now standard principles across elite football. Total football transcended Michels' own achievements and reshaped the European game for generations. Johan Cruyff, the architect of positional play. Johan Cruyff, first as Michels' on-field leader and later as a coach, refined and evolved total football. When he took over FC Barcelona in 1988, the club lacked a clear identity, and Spanish football was dominated by defensive, direct systems. Cruyff did the opposite. He introduced an attacking, possession-based style built on creativity, movement, and positional interchange. His teams used the full width and depth of the pitch and focused obsessively on ball possession and passing triangles, ensuring the ball carrier always had multiple options. He reintroduced the false nine, notably with Michael Laudrup, to add fluidity and association rather than relying on a fixed striker. Cruyff transformed Barcelona's identity and embedded attacking 3-4-3 and 4-3-3 principles into La Magia. His positional play philosophy inspired generations of players and coaches, most notably Pep Guardiola. The later tiki-taka era of Barcelona and Spain can be traced directly to Cruyff's vision, proving that technical, offensive football could dominate at the highest level. Arrigo Sacchi, pressing and zonal defense in Italy. Arrigo Sacchi transformed Italian football at a time when the game in Italy was dominated by defensive caution, deep blocks, and strict man-to-man marking. The traditional Catenaccio system prioritized safety, individual duels, and protecting the penalty area above all else. In this context, Sacchi's ideas initially seemed radical, even reckless, to many Italian observers. When he took charge of AC Milan in 1987, Sacchi arrived with no professional playing background, which made his appointment controversial. However, his lack of a traditional football career allowed him to think differently. Drawing inspiration from Rinus Michels and Dutch total football, he believed that organization, collective movement, and spatial control were more important than individual marking or defensive retreat. Instead of having defenders follow attackers across the pitch, Sacchi introduced zonal defending, where players were responsible for spaces rather than specific opponents. This allowed Milan to move as a coordinated unit rather than as isolated individuals. He also implemented high pressing, pushing his defensive line far up the field and aggressively compressing space between lines. Using a highly structured 4-4-2, Sacchi's Milan operated as a compact block of roughly 25 meters from defense to attack. This compression limited opponents' time on the ball and forced errors through coordinated pressure. Every player was expected to participate in both defending and attacking phases, reinforcing the collective identity of the team. A key feature of his system was the synchronized defensive line, led by legendary center-back Franco Baresi. At Baresi's command, the entire backline would step forward together to trap opponents offside, a risky but highly effective strategy that disorganized rival attacks. This became one of the defining characteristics of Sacchi's Milan. Offensively, Sacchi did not favor slow build-up or long balls. Instead, his team sought quick ball recovery followed by rapid vertical progression, combining pressing with purposeful attacking transitions. His football was proactive rather than reactive, a dramatic shift from traditional Italian philosophy. Sacchi's success at the highest level, including back-to-back European Cup titles in 1989 and 1990, proved that his methods were not only theoretical, but also winning strategies. His ideas reshaped Italian football culture, gradually replacing man-to-man marking with zonal systems across Serie A. His impact was so profound that FIFA even modified the offside rule in 1990, allowing attackers to be level with the second-last defender, a change often referred to as the anti-Milan law, because it weakened the effectiveness of Sacchi's offside trap. Pep Guardiola, the tiki-taka era and positional evolution. Pep Guardiola is the most influential tactical figure of modern football and the direct heir to Johan Cruyff's philosophy. When he took charge of FC Barcelona in 2008, he inherited a squad full of talent but lacking coherence, consistency, and a clear identity. In just a few seasons, Guardiola reshaped that group into one of the most dominant teams in football history, winning multiple domestic and international titles while redefining how the game could be played. Tactically, Guardiola elevated Cruyff's ideas of positional play to an unprecedented level through what became known as tiki-taka. This style was built on short, precise passing, constant movement, patient ball circulation, and a collective commitment to controlling space rather than simply chasing the ball. His teams prioritized possession not as an end in itself, but as a tool to manipulate opponents, create numerical advantages, and dictate the rhythm of the match. One of his most revolutionary decisions was deploying Lionel Messi as a false nine. Instead of staying high as a traditional striker, Messi dropped into midfield, dragging defenders out of position and creating space for forwards like Pedro and David Villa to run behind the defense. This completely dismantled conventional defensive structures and forced opponents to rethink how to mark Barcelona. Defensively, Guardiola introduced a philosophy of counter-pressing, gegenpressing influence, meaning that when Barcelona lost the ball, they immediately pressed in the opponent's half to recover possession before the rival could launch a counterattack. This made his teams both dominant with and without the ball. Structurally, Guardiola also innovated by using inverted fullbacks, notably Dani Alves and later players like Philipp Lahm and João Cancelo at Bayern and Manchester City. Instead of staying wide, these fullbacks moved inside into midfield during possession, creating numerical superiority in central areas. At the same time, his wingers stayed extremely wide to stretch defenses horizontally, opening passing lanes inside. Another hallmark of his system was building attacks from the goalkeeper. Under Guardiola, goalkeepers like Victor Valdés, Manuel Neuer, and Ederson were not just shot stoppers but playmakers, starting attacks with controlled passes rather than long clearances. Over time, Guardiola refined his approach at Bayern Munich and Manchester City, incorporating more verticality, faster transitions, and positional rotations while preserving his core principles of space, structure, and control. Guardiola's impact goes far beyond trophies. He changed the culture of football globally. Even in traditionally direct leagues like England, teams now prioritize playing out from the back, structured build-up, and positional overloads in midfield. Concepts such as rest defense, half spaces, and positional superiority have become mainstream in coaching education. Football is not only shaped by goals, trophies, or legends on the pitch, it is shaped by ideas. The coaches we've explored didn't just win matches, they changed how the game is understood, taught, and played. From total football to tiki-taka, from scientific discipline to high-intensity pressing, their influence lives in every modern team today. The game keeps evolving, but it stands on the shoulders of these tactical pioneers. And that is the true legacy of football's greatest minds.